And there we go. We're running. So thanks for joining us, you guys, for exploring telepathy on last day of January in 2026. I'm Kevin Young, intuitive coach, one of the admins for the Autism Telepathy Conversations community, where we talk about telepathy and non-physical connections of all kinds, getting ourselves into the higher frequency range of where telepathy and person to spirit, person to animal communications can happen, and what it means, what our experiences are. We'll do a little practice later on, kind of do some meditations, do a couple of them. We'll do one here in a second to kind of calm our own energies and get us into vibrational alignment, and then we'll do one near the end where we can practice a little bit of opening up to the telepathic channel. And in this context, telepathy, even though that's what the group is about, and so sort of the focus, telepathy is just a one part of opening up a broader connection to the non-physical side of ourselves, so that where we really are from. And so it's the same process. Telepathy is more focused on an individual or other being, but we can communicate with, receive guidance from non-physical, from past loved ones, from guides. There's an immense range of support that's around us all the time. It doesn't have a location; it's a vibration, so it's always with us. So just by practicing opening the channel, then telepathy can come online if that's the thing you want to pursue, but it opens up all the rest, the guidance system that we're all uh, looking for and often are missing in our day-to-day lives. When we get all stressed and shut down, we have physical or emotional challenges, which I have and had many of in my life as well. But learning to get into that vibrational range then allows those things to all start to soften and come into harmony, and then they go away on their own, and then we open up to the broader consciousness, and that's where you really realize you're not alone. Never were alone, never will be alone, because you're part of a collective consciousness of all that is, just in a human body which has a narrow focus. That's why we can't see all the support. And that was by design, be able to focus down into this narrow range where we can go out of alignment and into alignment so much, gives us the ability to focus on topics that are important to our own inner being or soul. So it's an important part of the process. It's just often can be painful when we're on the out of alignment part of things. We attract things that maybe we didn't really want to attract. So it's all perfect. We're exactly where we need to be. You can't get it wrong. It's never done. You are eternal, infinite, indestructible being of pure light, pretending, masquerading to be a human. So nothing serious is going on. And so we're here to just have some fun together, share some stories, synchronicities, things that are working for you to get into this aligned state. Really, anything you guys want to talk about in this general topic is available. We don't really have an agenda. We just kind of go with the flow that comes off of the meditations and where people are being drawn to naturally go. So we will do the meditation, and then as we chat, you guys can raise your little hand. On the React menu, there's a raise hand button. You can see my little hand went up. So just use that, or type something in the chat if you got a question, you want to share something. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to. Whatever feels good and comfortable to you. And I think that's about that. I see Melissa is here. Good to see you, Melissa. Do you feel like doing the meditation intro?
Sure, that sounds wonderful.
Wonderful. She is our meditation master. What say we go ahead? It's all yours, Melissa.
Well, hello. I have a little few allergies going on myself here in the old cold state of Michigan here. Last day, hopefully for some warmer weather comes this way, but it's not looking too great, but great to be with everybody today. For all of you who have not met me, I am Melissa. I'm an animal communicator, telepathic channel, spiritual medium, and kind of just all around doing different stuff and figuring it out myself. And just glad to be with all of you beautiful people here today and see what we can do with some meditation and connecting together and bringing some love to our hearts and seeing where we go from that. And so with that, I just invite you to settle in for just a minute and close your eyes if it feels good, or do whatever feels best for you. Let's just take a slow breath in and let it out nice and gently. Just allowing our bodies to soften here in this moment. Feel the support from this loving group here, all of us coming together. Feel Mother Earth around us, holding us. We don't have to do anything but just be here right now. Now I want to take you to a place, to a beautiful natural place that calls to you. This place feels peaceful, alive, nourishing, and loving. It can be a forest or a meadow or someplace by the water, or a sacred space of your own that you have, that you go to. Just let this place welcome you. Just noticing the colors around you, maybe what the air smells like or feels like on your skin. If it's sunny or cloudy, just feel how safe it feels just to be here right now in this place. Begin noticing the trees around you, tall ones, older ones, seeing how deeply rooted they are into Mother Earth. The trees, they recognize you. They feel your vibration. They've been waiting for you to come. Just feel their calmness, their wisdom, and their quiet love. As you move around this beautiful place, see if you notice any animals nearby. Maybe some are close. Maybe you see a few off in the distance running. The animals, they're all soft and relaxed here in your presence. There's so much trust and love here. Maybe an animal comes your way. Maybe there's several animals surrounding you. Maybe it's one you know. Or maybe here's an animal coming for you with a new message. Maybe one you've never seen before. Just let them come in on their own and see what happens. Notice how you feel with them. Does something light up in your body? Do you feel a sensation maybe you never felt before? Are they talking to you beyond words? Do you feel the love in your heart? Just that feeling and knowing. This is telepathy. This is that heart to heart knowing, that feeling of unconditional love. Just being here in this presence and feeling this connection. That's all it is. This beautiful, soft energy. Now just notice the trees blowing in the wind, in the air around you, and Mother Earth holding you. And maybe you hear water trickling in the distance from a stream or a little creek. Or perhaps you're by the ocean hearing the waves roar. Just feel how this water carries this emotion of memory and love. Let that wash through you. Let it soften anything that might feel heavy, anything that you may need to release. Just bring your awareness to your heart space right now. And feel yourself smiling so big with your heart. And it radiates out to everybody here. And we're all smiling with our hearts to each other. And they're just beaming to each other and out into the world. Right here and now, we're sending so much love out to the world together. This beautiful space. Just take a moment to feel that love with the animals and the trees and Mother Earth, and just with yourself. There's no rush or anywhere to be. Just this feeling of love and smiling with our hearts with each other. And as this journey starts to come to a close, thank the animals, the trees, and the land. They are always all connected to you. And you can return here anytime you want to. This is your space. This is your place of connection. Now just begin to notice your body again. The room around you, and move in whatever way feels good to you. Carry this feeling of love and connection with you throughout this call and your day and into the new month tomorrow. with the full moon. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes and come back here to us.
Thank you, Melissa. Very
Thank you.
peaceful. I had a number of images come to me when you're talking about the animals, specifically the ducks we connected with last summer. The first time I had a male female pair come up to me early in the summer when I was at there's a stream that runs through the next city over. It's got a beautiful park and it's got a historical village on the other side. I go down there and sit under the trees right by the water to get peace. And a duck couple walked up to me, and the female came right up to me and looked up the side eye as the birds do, and just I could just feel the presence. And then she kind of settled down, started preening herself. I just said, "Yeah, I don't have any food." But then I went to the store, and later in the summer, we went back. I went with Suzanne, and we sat down there. They had babies, and they came up to us. We tossed them some food, and we eventually had them eating out of our hands. We would just sit down and in that quiet presence, and that image keeps coming back to me, and that came through this whole meditation. I kept coming back to that the communion that was occurring, just like what we're doing here on this call. The animals already have the high vibration, and they were encouraging me to meet them, and then we could connect in that way. And being able to look right into the eye of an animal, and you can feel them looking back at you, and you can feel the open connection. That was really powerful memory for me. Helped me come into this state. So, what else you guys experience? Or anybody have any awarenesses? Did you have any specific connections that popped up? Yeah, Verena, go right ahead. Unmute yourself.
I was cooking, so I had to turn off the camera. But I participated in the meditation. It was beautiful. Thank you so much, Melissa. And I saw myself on a meadow, and a deer came up. Like there were deer and hare and like lots of forest animals, but like the deer came up and like was like very close to my face, saying hi and saying like it's exciting times. Like we're all coming together, and we're all like what you said so beautifully. Like we're all meeting with our hearts. We're all connecting with our hearts, and that means we can all connect. We animals can connect with you. We're all coming closer together, and that was really you.
Wow, what a nice message. Ooh. That's something we have deer in the neighborhood that occasionally you'll see one standing in a park or running across the street, but I've never had a communion like that with a deer. So you're inspiring me to open up to that possibility now. Thanks, Verena.
Yes.
Anyone else have a communication or a message or just even a vision of some sort during the meditation? Or is it just a good feeling? And you can put messages in the chat window if you don't feel like sharing in the
Hi,
Zoom.
this is Jennifer
Hi,
from
Jennifer.
Waco. I was just thinking about these three ducks that were down there at Woodway Beach. Ever since we moved here, I used to go down there and, oh, I still do. I used to go down there and look at the sunset. And it's this beautiful beach, and there was always these same three ducks down there. And recently, we've discovered that there was a fox running around the neighborhood, and one of the ducks at the beach disappeared, and then a second duck disappeared. Um, the last duck was still there for quite a while. I think he's still down there. I don't know if it's a male or female, but I also had a neighbor who had I think seven ducks, and now he's just down to four because of that same fox. So it's kind of tragic, but I did want to share that when I first noticed that one of the ducks was missing down at the beach, I looked up, and the instant I noticed that duck was missing, I saw this. Um, I don't know if it's called like negative sun rays. It's where the clouds make a shadow, and
Hmm.
they were in the shape of wings.
Oh.
And I think it was that duck that was gone that was, telling me that it was still here in
Hmm.
spirit. And that's all I wanted to share.
What a great message. Because certainly they don't go anywhere. They just change their perspective from the physical body to the non-physical spirit. What a great message. That's a great reminder for all of us that there really is nothing wrong with the process. It's nature, the way nature is intended, but still, it's sad when we lose something that's important to us, somebody or something. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. Linda B., go ahead, unmute yourself. Where did you go? You still there?
Yeah, sorry, I had to figure out the unmute thing.
That's okay.
Um, so this is my first time joining you guys, but
Welcome.
thank you. I initially started thinking about a forest. That was the first peaceful place, and what was interesting was that I remembered a memory from, I guess, like I was 14, 15 years old. It was a path that my mom and I used to go on in the summertime in upstate New York. Um, and it my mom passed when I was 20, and I've been trying to kind of reconnect. Like I feel like I've been pushed onto this like spiritual journey the last year or so, and kind of found my way to this group. And it was the first time I actually was able to see her through this meditation. And my Great Dane, who passed after my mom, I had a Great Dane about 20 years ago, and she was there. So it was neat to see both of them there. So thank you.
Wow. Well, congratulations for tuning in to that frequency where you could connect with them.
Thanks.
Yeah, see, that's it's funny that they're so close and yet so far at times when we're in this more stressful day-to-day life. And that it's really become the habit across the planet of being in stress, worrying about the future or whatever's going on, being sad about the past. And yet here just in what 20 minutes or so of relaxing us collectively, how easy it suddenly is to be able to open up to these um, beings or connections that are right around us all the time. That's always so encouraging to me when we do this. It reminds me that I know I have guidance. I know there are certain beings that have been with me since I have been here that are starting to show up in little bits. And yet I still need calls like this myself to help me remember to let go and to go into that frequency and how easy it can really be. Michael, go right ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to share about this is my first time, Jennifer and I joining this. We're kind of trying to learn more about our non-speaking son and the spiritual gifts that he has and how we can help him on his path. And I'm driving right now through the countryside, so I kind of had a meditation with him as we're driving around, just peaceful rural area, and he was very calm, and I could tell he was in his own space during that. But when Melissa started talking about the water, he just lit up with such happy noises and sounds. Like I could tell he was in that mental space of being in the water, and it's just his favorite place to be, his favorite thing to do, and um, he just finds so much peace being in the water, and it was interesting whenever he lit up like that when the meditation went that direction. So thank you for that.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, there have been a number of stories like that on these calls and certainly other places where we find that they're much more tuned in. I mean, I'm sure you know that being his parent. But I don't have a non-speaking or autistic child, so it's always fascinating to me how connected, how tuned in they really are, and how sensitive they are to the vibration of the surroundings. So I think he's pretty lucky to have found or to have picked you and Jennifer as his parents to help him go down this path. What a co-creation the journey that you guys are on. Totally amazing. Ooh. That's when I found this group and the whole idea of the autistic non-speakers being telepathic, like everything vibrated for me at that time. That was about a year ago now that I found this group and the telepathy tapes. And I'm still just so eager to dive in deeper and deeper because I know these kids and others on the spectrum are here to teach us that connectivity, that the importance of staying in that vibrational connected state, which is so much harder for those of us who are neurotypical than in the autistic state. So thank you so much for that. And I see there was somebody else here had said, chat. Oh, Monique said, oh, I see Monique, you got your hand raised. I guess I'll just go ahead, Monique. Jump right in.
Thanks. I just wanted to add to that about like the message that our kids share, because as you probably know, I'm Cody and Aaron's mum, and one of the things, as well as being heart-led and heart-centered and thinking, operating and coming from the heart first and foremost, in the aim towards like a collective unity. The process to get there can sometimes involve, like lower vibrational days, because when we are clearing out stuck energies and that, it's not usually enjoyable. Sometimes it will involve going back to past memories where we created beliefs about it and stored the energy inside us. And we have to look at it and process it and let it out. And it's not always comfortable, and it, might involve tears and to forgive somebody that you might not have wanted to forgive before, etc. But then every time you do that, you feel lighter, and it kind of helps you in the direction that we're supposed to be going in. So I would just want to remind people not to fear facing that, and you're not doing anything wrong. If you feel like crap one day, it's probably because you're clearing something out, and you are still in alignment.
Yes, exactly. And thanks for sharing that, Monique, because it's absolutely true. And even if you're not on the spectrum, like I know Monique is not, but her two kids are, you're going to have the roller coaster rides in this intense journey that we're on collectively. We have the advantage of being self-aware enough, awakened enough to the broader consciousness around us and who we really are, and that we have these abilities to connect and be supported, that we're here to go through the dark stuff sort of ahead of the curve of the broader consciousness, the mainstream consciousness, to not only create better lives for ourselves as we shed these deep and dark shadows that we picked up along our earlier physical trail, but then to be the example of how it can be done, how you can create a better life for yourself without anybody or anything needing to change. The government doesn't have to change. The politics, religion, corporation, tax, none of that has to change for us to create a better life. It is an inside job. So I appreciate that reminder, Monique. And Monique is a master at this. I'll just tell you. And she's another one of the admins in our group, so I know her pretty well. Amazing being. What else? Melissa, you got your hand up. Go right ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing I was going to talk about too, is the healing journey itself. It's a rough one at times, and some days are great and some days are off the charts. So it's just, and you are releasing out stuff. Myself, I've been going through it this past month, releasing out stuff from my body that has been stored in there from stuff that's time to come out. As I remember more things, the more things come up the next layer, and it's going out. And I do connect with the autistic kids and had a pretty much a life-changing moment with one of them and their mom a week ago, my own self, connecting with them, and it was in a heart space I've never felt before. I can't even explain. I've been really practicing smiling with my heart, and it changes your life. I'll tell you, like it makes your whole body different. And I don't know what happened that day, but it was just insane. The love that happened in that channeling with the nonverbal child was just something just so it was just like the world lit up, my world lit up, and that's what they're all here, and even with my pets too, connecting with them, the same thing. But it's getting bigger and bolder and brighter, and it's rolling bigger. The momentum is just getting bigger because the kids are just coming together more with the animals and circling around us and waiting and wanting us to remember. And like it's just so I don't know, here just listening to everybody talk about Michael, how his son just could hear me talking, and I love the water and I'm autistic, and it makes me ground, and it's my safe haven too. And so before I start the meditation, I call in, all the animals and the kids and whoever wants to join us on this call. And so I truly feel that your son was with us in that meditation 1000%. Just like I think they're all here, or a lot of them are here, even if their parents aren't here, because they're part of this group and this sending love to all of us to help us be in this space. And they're here with us, sending all of that protection around us. And I don't know, it's just been life changing, and just wanted to share my story.
Thanks for sharing, Melissa. And Melissa's doing some life changing work for the non speakers and the speakers too. She's helped me immensely in my journey as well through her channeling abilities. We're all in this together, as our friends Abraham would say. We're all here to follow our own journey and inspire others along the way. Beautiful matrix of love. Go ahead, Verena.
Yeah, I also wanted to add to that because I feel like the Fire Horse year is only starting in February. And I think like that's gonna be so like elevating this energy of what we have all been consciously going on or through like in the last couple of years already. Like, but this healing journey of what I've been feeling in the last months, weeks, especially even more, is that I move forward so quickly. Like I have these big breakthroughs of things being like cleared, and like last week, I think maybe I went to a call with somebody who was channeling the Andromedan Council, and that was like I connect so easily these days of like, and I had a personal problem that I was going through and something where I felt stuck, and I just like in while the channeling was going on mentioned it, and I felt their physical presence enter my space like cold wind going on all around me, and them fixing my root chakra like in real time. And after that I was just like felt like flying through the air. But then you have that for a day and you feel all of this relief and release, and that's so incredibly beautiful. And then the next day it's like chew. and and then all the things come up that now need to adjust.
Yes.
Because you have this new like space that you've created and that is opening up, and that means there are all these other parts that have not been looked at yet because it wasn't necessary, because you weren't on that level yet. And so they're all coming up and saying, hey, we're here, I'm here, that was this, like, and then you're like, ugh. But we have to learn to embrace that as well. And so I'm just sharing that as a reminder that that is a natural part of the process, and not like, because it can often feel like a step back, but we're still leveling up, just more things coming to our awareness, more things to be released and to be integrated, and so that we can then experience more freedom.
That's a really good point. Thank you for sharing that. You articulated it beautifully. it's the thing that Abraham calls all hell breaking loose when you start to do the vibrational work, and and that's same here. My whole last year, things that I never thought would happen, both in positive and a negative way, but all for the positive movement. And so the idea, just to kind of enhance, reflect back what you were saying, is that we're at whatever vibrational level, and you can tell by how you feel is the vibrational level you're at. And for sort of average over your life, when you have new awarenesses and releases like you did in the Andromedan call, then the vibration raises instantly. Your awareness changes. You let go of a belief, boom, it's gone in that moment. You shift that quickly, but the rest of the body still takes time to catch up. So there's a little healing process. And now you're more sensitive to the lower vibrations, which you haven't yet dealt with in your belief systems and your psyche. And so it's like then another one pops up, but you're higher up, and it's like you fall farther and it hurts more. And then you think, this sucks. I'm never getting anywhere. But in fact, you have, as you said beautifully, you have actually your average vibration has raised. And this is getting more and more pronounced for me. I was just talking with Suzanne about this, maybe it was yesterday, where I'm still getting some hits, like where yet another thing happens, and I haven't. I have a belief system which hasn't been dealt with yet, and boom, drops me down. I have negative either physical reaction in my body or emotionally. I slip into a depression for the moment. But now it's sort of like they're becoming compartmentalized. I can start to see the thing happening as opposed to being in it fully enveloped and lost. And as a result, then it's a lot easier to come out of it because I see that, well, that's not me. That's a reaction that old Kevin's programming from years and years of mental abuse is still, there's still another piece that now wants to be released. And as soon as I detect that, it's like Bashar says, a thing is a habit until you're aware you're doing it. And then it's a choice. Still feels like a habit because there's momentum in play, but it's still a choice. And now you can choose, okay, well, that's something that I don't need to react to anymore. I can just let that go. And in the moment of letting it go, you float right back up to where you were, ready for the next crash. But it becomes, I just wanted to share that because it becomes, this year has trained me to start to separate out the reactions of just old programming in my brain from who I really am. And the more you can do that, then the less you take it personally, the less you get engaged with it. And the more you practice the activity of recognizing and being with it and not pushing it away, then it naturally dissipates. There's no other work to do on that one topic. It just naturally dissipates. So I really appreciate you saying that, Verena.
It's a practice, and like the more we do it, the more we become aware, and the easier it becomes because we're not taking it personally anymore.
Yeah. That's exactly it. You're not taking it, and taking it personally is another belief system. And so you're like maybe even addressing two belief systems at the same time. I really love this work. This is why I went into this kind of coaching, intuitive coaching work. Is the deeper I go in myself, the more awareness I have about the human condition. And the autistic side of things is, of course, there's different brain wiring. So there's other things which behave differently. But at the core, we're still vibrational beings. We still have an internal guidance system. We still have emotional guidance that tells us whether we're in alignment or not. And we still have programs that we learn when we're young that we can let go of when we come into alignment. The thing I love about so many of the those on the spectrum, particularly the non-speakers, is that their channel seems to be really open to the higher consciousness. And when they're pulled off, it's really painful for them. And you see that in their physical violent expressions sometimes. And I'm sure some of you who have kids can speak to that. I can't, but I've certainly witnessed it. And so they're here to teach us that channel is supposed to be open most of the time, and that you can open your own channel. This is what I've learned this year. And the more you honor it and program yourself to focus in the open connectedness of things, then you snap back to it easier. Anyway, I don't even know why all that came to me. Let's see. I see Jennifer pop something in here. Our son is 12 years old, not yet open to the letterboard. We're eager to find a better way to communicate with him since we began listening to the podcast. Yeah, the telepathy tapes, hearts and minds have expanded, but no major breakthroughs, just glimpses. Well, that's better than not having glimpses. So what we learned on these calls in particular is that synchronicities are really an important thing to notice when they occur. the synchronicity just means two things that synchronize in the moment, a rendezvous that occurs. But we usually use the term synchronicity to be a positive experience. So the fact that you guys were guided to this call, and if you're getting benefit from being here, that was a synchronicity. So that's something to sit back and acknowledge yourselves for being in an open enough state, kind of like what we created here in this meditation and this conversation, to get the impulse to be drawn to this group. And it doesn't matter how it happened. That's irrelevant. That's an orchestration by the higher consciousness, the universe. But you have this intention to communicate with them, and it's not in a negative state, it's in a positive state. And so of course you had to be guided here. And of course you'll be guided to the next level and the next one and the next one. And as Melissa said, that your son is here in the non-physical side of things, pulling as well, calling, being the inspiration, the light, the guidance to pull you in this direction. And one of the things I've noticed, if the telepathy tapes you may have seen, is they say that, the kids, of course, who are non-speakers and have apraxia, they're happy to be able to communicate through a letterboard if that's the only avenue. But you guys are coming online. So many are coming online to open up the telepathic channel. And they're saying, I'm not going to go the old slow way. You guys are close enough to telepathy that I'm just going to wait for you guys to show up and maybe bring other people online to help, like Melissa channels for non-speakers. And there's others in the group who do that as well. Becoming another way of connecting, direct connection. And so then you can eventually tune into this as well. So I think it's really perfect that you're here, and that I know you'll be guided to other things as you just keep opening up the channel, relaxing into it, not trying to make it happen too quickly, but just trusting that we're all born telepathic. We just lost it because we have these dense programs that took over early on in life. And so that's what we're trying to do in this group, is to soften our resistance and then float back up into that range where it naturally occurs. And my invitation to both you guys, if you feel like it, is when we do the meditation here in whatever it is, 15, 20 minutes, for telepathy, is you set the intention to be completely open to your son's communications. In other words, not try to make anything happen, not try to force it, but just see if you can surrender completely the feelings into the present moment, and see if you start to get little intuitive impulses from him. See if you can actually hear something. You might find it's easier than you think, because clearly your son knows what needs to happen next. All right, let's see what else we got here. Be sure that I'm not missing anybody. Monique says, yes, Cody used spelling to tell me he's telepathic, then later told me he wants telepathy as his first choice of communication. And of course, who wouldn't? There's no effort in telepathy. But I got to tell you, I'm not telepathic in this sense. I'm more of a conscious channel. I'm more connected sort of broadly. When I do my intuitive coaching, I move into the more of a channeling state. And that's what I'm doing here on the call. I can feel you guys and what wants to come through. And then I just kind of let go and let it happen. But I want to develop my telepathic abilities as well, because I want to open up that channel to non-speakers more as well. So we're all here practicing together. Can't get it wrong. And Cody knows we're all rooting for him, and Aaron as well. Or rooting for us to communicate with him, I should say. What else? I did want to take just a moment to talk about the Facebook live stream thingy, which I popped up. I don't know if any of you guys saw that or not, but I've been considering for months now, and I've talked with the admin group about it a bit. The idea of taking the Zoom calls and just then what we're doing right now, and then just opening a channel to the Facebook, a post on Facebook where the video itself would be playing live, so that if somebody was in the group and they just wanted to watch what we were doing, they could do that. I've had different perspectives on this show up, and I'm just curious what you guys might think. The advantage is that more people can join, and they can't participate because you can't come on the stream. You don't even know who's showing up or who's watching, which gives anonymity to people who are in the group or maybe too afraid to show up in a live Zoom session. For my early days, I was very afraid of being in front of a group. It took a lot of practice and a lot of different techniques to get to the point where I can do this kind of work. So I can understand that. The downside is then there's a belief that safety would be compromised for those of us on this call. So all of a sudden, more people can can see, then people are watching, and I know that there's can be safety issues. And so I'm kind of curious. I'd like a little feedback here. My belief is that we create our own safety. The purpose of the group is to come together and create a safe space, a knowing space to, first of all, know that you're not alone in your belief in telepathy, broader consciousness, the non-speakers being, what do you call it, competent, presumed competence. But at the end of the day, because we are ultimately the creators of our reality, we are that powerful. I always want this to be a bridge to opening up the feeling of safety within ourselves so that we don't have to come to an environment to feel safe, but rather we can be safe in the knowing of who we are and create a sort of a safety bubble, as it were, around us. But I'm not sure if this group and this call is the place to do that, which then begs the second question, which I'm just tossing out now to start considering, is creating another group specifically for those who want to focus in privately on telepathy and do deeper work, like more small group kind of thing. I've done groups like that in the past for channeling and intuition development and so forth, but those wouldn't be free and they wouldn't be offered publicly. It would be a private focused thing or something in between. So I'm just kind of starting the exploration for this year because I feel strong expansion calling me along with this large community. So go ahead, Verena. What's your feedback?
I think it's a great idea. Because it will, there's always a barrier. If you have to join a Zoom call, then, you have to bring up some bravery. For some, that's less, for some, that's more. But I think if it's just there in the feed and pops up for people, it can be a wonderful thing. And I wanted to share something else that I saw the other day, which was a dream message from a Native American. I didn't write down the name, but he had this dream about meeting bears, and bears are the ancestors basically, and they were all saying it's really time that we need to come together. And I heard this message, and it resonated so much with me. And I think every opportunity that we have to reach more people, and I think this is such a wonderful group, and people can see what we're doing and how we exist and that we're here and that we're coming together. And if that gives more people hope or perspective or a way to connect, I think that's a wonderful idea. And I also saw that somebody commented and said, because it's every other week, right, that the meetings are that maybe we do one per month that is open and in the Facebook group, and one per month that is closed, so the people who don't feel comfortable sharing in a bigger space also have half and half or something like that. I think.
I see. Okay, that was Monique said that, and so I didn't understand it that way. So that's interesting. That's a different way. I thought she was just saying doing only a Facebook Live and then only a Zoom. But what you're saying is then Facebook Live part would be every other time.
Exactly. So
okay.
That it has the possibility for other people to see how these things are going, and there's still a private meeting for those who don't feel comfortable speaking and sharing in a bigger space. Just my idea.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's to open it up more in any way possible.
Yeah, in general, that's whether it's with this group or a different group or private programs or whatever. I'm definitely with you, Verena, that we're here to push the leading edge. We're here to help people overcome their fears of sharing what they know to be truth for them, when it is telepathy or whatever. It's always been that's what I do as a coach. I help people uncover the fears and let them go so they can express themselves, their unique, powerful selves. And I think we need a lot of that. We could use a lot of that. We don't need anything. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. So thanks for that sharing. Let's see in the chat here. Let's see. Rachel says, like you always stated, prefer the interaction. Yeah, and so yeah, I see in another comment. Do I understand Facebook Live would not allow us to interact? Yeah, well, so the way Facebook Live is an add-on to Zoom. It's not a replacement for it. So it's nothing would be different from us here on this Zoom call. Everything would be exactly the same. We'd be interacting. We'd be coming on and off camera as we wanted to. We come and go as we wanted to. But just pretend like I had a phone here, and I was actually just taking a picture. I was actually videoing the interaction with audio as well. And then I sent that to Facebook. That's basically what Facebook Live is. So it shows up in a post. And so a post would pop up. This video would be playing in the post. There'd be a little description at the top, and people can put comments in the post if they wanted to. But unless I have Facebook open on another window and I'm noticing my own post, I wouldn't know that anybody was trying to say anything. So, and there's absolutely no video interaction, because the video interaction comes on Zoom. So I hope that answers the question. It's just a way of taking what we're doing here, which it seems private and intimate, and energetically it is. So make no mistake, we're creating a powerful, positive bubble by being together here. So there's nothing to worry about being in this energy, but just then making that video available for the rest of the group, who again are here for the same reason. And many of them don't come to these calls because they're too afraid to be seen even on these calls. A lot of them post in the group anonymously because there's still a huge stigma around these concepts of even that there's anything outside of us. But that's what the fear we're trying to overcome. So this, as Farina was saying, this would allow us to make it more easily available to just watch from the sidelines, and nobody knows you're watching. You can't see who's watching the Facebook Live video of this session, unless you comment. If you put a comment in, then of course we know who you are. But so everyone can be watching. But the reality is, we've got 15,000 people in the group. There's 20 on this call. And we've never had more than about 25, I think. I can't remember what the highest number is. So there's a tiny fraction of people who are actually even aware of these Zoom calls. I don't know what they're doing in the group. Maybe they're all just getting their confidence up by noticing what people post. And to me, that's just perfect. That's great as well. So that's just kind of, I hope that explains like how the mechanism would work. Okay, I see Annika says, or Anika says, that's what I was thinking. Thanks for voicing that. Rachel. And yeah, Masako. Yeah, showing my face here is also my practice. Exactly. And I was in the same place as you, Masako, in my earlier days too. It was all I could do. And in the earliest days when I was joining channeling calls done by telephone before Zoom became a thing, this is probably 2013 or something. So when I was just kind of getting that confidence, it was all telephone. There wasn't even any face. And that was I still had to take a deep breath, and I would often be the first one on a channeling call to ask a question just because I wanted to get the damn thing over with. So I didn't have to sit back with my question and worry when I was going to put my hand up and get my question answered. And so, yeah, good for you. I just want to celebrate you for doing that. And each step, it becomes a little easier when you take the next step. I had to take a Dale Carnegie course, and I went back and volunteered like 7 times. Suzanne, my wife, and I did that as well. That was about 23 years ago, 24 years ago, which got me out of my shell. And still, there's all these layers. I didn't start doing Zoom calls until 2014, my own Zoom calls. And even then, I'd be sweating, a little nervous when I started each call. But there's something about forcing when you're excited about something, but you're scared, then that's an indication that there's something to move through towards. If it's just scary and there's no excitement pulling you, then that's not something to do. That's how I can tell the difference of whether my inner being is calling me towards something positive, but I just have resistance in my brain, versus, no, this isn't the direction. Making that discernment has helped me a lot, because then I'll just take a deep breath and step into the next thing that I'm scared to do, but feel like something will come through. And as soon as I break through the bubble and I start talking, then the channel opens up. And then I'm not making it about me anymore. And Masako, I'm not just talking to you. This is for everybody on the call. It's like Edwene Gaines, Reverend Edwene Gaines, such a beautiful teacher back at around year 2000 or so. She said that fear feels like a brick wall, but it's actually a membrane. And when you touch it, it disperses like a bubble. And then suddenly you're through to the next side. And every time I've done that, I find that, oh, I like this. I feel a little more empowered. Yeah, it was a little scary, but I didn't die. Nobody came and, hurt me or anything. In fact, they were excited that I was here because I was sharing something they were afraid to share. And so it just this is why I do this stuff. The excitement is better than the fear. Annalie, you've had your hand up. Go right ahead.
I did read all the comments on the Facebook post about the Facebook Live, and I think there was just a general misunderstanding that the Facebook Live was supposed to replace this meeting. And as I was in your group when you held those meetings a few years ago, and you actually did
the other group, yeah.
Yeah, you did the Facebook Live thing parallel to the meeting. My personal feeling was never that I was exposed in any way to the people watching on Facebook or anything. I never thought about them. I could see comments afterwards. I could see the comments on the Facebook from Facebook, I think. But it was never disturbing. You never noticed it. I never thought about it even. And thing is that this meeting is posted anyway in the group after.
Yes.
So, I mean, anybody can still watch this, listen to us, what we talk about here. So it's not a big difference for me personally. It doesn't feel like a big difference.
Right. It's interesting. Perception is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
And perception creates reality, the longer we dwell on it.
Right. So for me, it's totally okay and not a big change, except for those who can actually listen live.
Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress. I think the way we will look at this, because there's, I think I mentioned in the comments is that I spent a good 2 hours on this yesterday, and I did it as Annalie was saying. We've hosted meetup groups since I think 2014. Suzanne and I have. We hosted them here in our house. We've rented churches, doing this kind of work at a little more basic level. And when COVID hit, we opened up Lightworker Exchange, is what Annalie's talking about, which is a group for lightworkers to come together and share those working in the same energy, basically. And we used to hold them at our house and another person's house. And then COVID hit in 2020, and so we went on to Facebook, and that's what Annalie's talking about. And then after doing Zoom calls like this, I figured out how to do Facebook Live, and then we would do that simulcasting. But that was a private group. There's about 500 people, I think, ultimately in the group. But for some reason, it doesn't work the same now. And I spent a good couple of hours doing all the things that I watched videos, and I couldn't get the last piece to work. Facebook would not connect to Zoom, and at that point, I realized I'm pushing a noodle. I'm starting to create more effort than calling, and so that's when I stopped. I realized there's resistance here within me, clearly trying to make it happen before it's time, and that maybe it needed this conversation to soften things and to give me a little perspective as to what to do next. So I listen to myself, my guidance system, a lot more than I ever have as a result of these last years of trying to force things to happen and then hitting the wall and then wondering what's going wrong. Well, it's because you weren't listening to your own guidance in the first place, which said, don't go that direction right now. Go over in this direction that's calling you a little bit more. And then eventually it'll be easier to come back to that direction if that was what you wanted to do. So I'm sure that we can figure it out. Just the question will be whether or not we're going to do that in this context, or I don't know. I think it's probably the messages. It's too early to tell. But thanks for sharing, Annalie. Suzanne, go ahead.
Of course, I was thinking about this as I saw you struggling with it for 2 hours. Or I didn't watch you, but you came down and shared, and I thought about it too. And I thought, yes, we've done it all, and we've had it on Facebook Live, and it didn't change my feeling. Like once I'm present on the screen here, I feel I've always like we create a safe place where we can all be honest and speak our truth and just be who we really are and keep learning and growing together. And it's a wonderful place. And I never worried about Facebook. I mean, if they were afraid to join us, then they went to Facebook. But knowing that this group has, what did you say, 14,000 members?
15,300 right now.
15,000. That means there were 15,000 souls that first got attracted to us, the whole topic, off of Facebook. Why didn't they come and join in like this? Because they're afraid, I think, but they're interested, they're curious, but they don't know what they don't know yet. And so if it makes it easier for some of those people who are always on their phone scrolling and all of a sudden on Facebook it pops up, oh, watch this. If they found us there, they might be attracted to listening and then feel safer and know they can join us in person and be their real selves for the first time face to face with people, because we don't have a lot of face to face interaction in this world today. Everything's, well, Zoom. But I think what the cool about this group, and really the ones that Kevin and I have put, we really want it to be a safe place, because neither one of us, as we grew up and before we met each other, ever felt safe in the world. And we're not autistic, but we still had the same, I'm not being seen, I'm not being heard, what's wrong with me, what makes me different. So it's still the same kind of experience we want. And we were so drawn to the telepathy tapes. That's why we thought, oh, wow, this is so cool. And I just think there's so many things that will be expanded as we keep exploring new ways to make this particular meeting even more safe for the ones that are afraid to join us now. Like, I like it when somebody's willing, like Masako said, just to show my face. That's not easy. And it's not easy to admit or even to talk about things that we've had, the traumas that have kind of held us back from getting into the high frequency zone where we can communicate with the non-speakers, because that's the zone you want to be in, high frequency. That's where they live. And so when we release some of these old shadows, some of these fears that we didn't even realize were buried deep down, it opens up the channel to get closer and closer to communicating with your non-speaker. I think it's beautiful. And even though, like I said, I'm not autistic, I remember the very first time when Kevin was taking Dale Carnegie, and we had a session in there. It was a 12-week course where we had to speak our truth about something. And I thought, oh, I can't do that. Not in this group. That is, no way could I speak my truth. When I watched Kevin speak his truth, because he was sort of like my mentor, I joined after he'd already gone through it. I thought, oh my God, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. Like, just like here, if I can be real, maybe another person will say, well, maybe I can be real too. And it's a wonderful feeling. I'll just never forget when I got up there, I thought I couldn't do it, and I did it. I felt like I had lost 10 pounds without even going on a diet. I mean, the weight of the world came off my shoulders because I spoke a truth that I had never even admitted to anyone about past relationship issues. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie is a magical thing. We both got so much out of that specific course. It's about human relations, but it's really more about coming into one's own, speaking one's own personal truth. Let's see. Jennifer says she's a member of a couple support groups, well practiced at sharing difficult things, but most normal people don't believe in telepathy. Yeah, most typical people. I wouldn't call them normal. I think we're normal. This is my opinion. New world of thoughts and ideas, unable to share in those groups. Yes, that is. Thank you for saying this, Jennifer. You touched on something that is, again, another one of the benefits of this group and these calls and so forth, is that they remind us we're not alone. A lot of when I was doing this work with private clients a dozen years ago, they would say, I hear messages from my dead grandmother, or I seem to know what's going to happen, or I'll see somebody and I'll pick up a message from them, but I haven't told anybody in my life. You're the first one, Kevin. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I can imagine having this amazing gift and nobody believes you, or the worst, they think you're an idiot or you're psychologically, damaged or something. And that's actually was the impetus for creating the first meetup group. Was it this client, that client, and that client, and that client are all saying the same thing. It's like I can communicate with non-physical or broader consciousness, but I can't tell anybody. I said, well, guess what? There's a lot of you, and you're all my clients. Let's come together and create a group where you can see that you're not only not alone, but you're the leading edge. You're not going to look normal to those who are still asleep, but that's not your job. Your job is to be yourself and to follow what feels good to you, and follow your own guidance and open up to that. And then you become the example through demonstration and through the energy field that you emit. In the process of doing this, that those then who are close enough to you will then see you, and they will ask, what are you doing? Like, why is everything working out for you? Why is your health so good? Why does money just show up in your life so easily? Why do you have wonderful friends around you? And then you can share, but not before. It's being the example and creating a safe enough space where people can learn to create their own safety, as Suzanne was saying. And there's such magic in doing this work. I never get tired of it. So yes, so Jennifer, I just wanted to then put a little fine point on that, is that a big part of this work that we're doing individually and then collectively moves very fast. And you will have to let go of people and groups, situations, jobs, belief systems, if you want to feel good. Because the broader part of you is expanding so quickly. Like Verena was talking about earlier, you let go of something, you expand. And now you got to catch up with the expansion by relaxing, releasing, and practicing that. That's happening very quickly. Boom, boom, boom. And there are people who are not ready for that expansion. And they may never be in this physical reality experience of the body they're in right now. And you got to let them have their experience. It's not about you grabbing them and pulling them along. And they've got to find their path, and some will come along and some won't. And it can be lonely at times as a result, particularly when it's family. I've lost a number of family members as a result of doing this work. But if I kept doing it, I would probably be dead, because I already had a brain tumor 18 years ago as a result of so much stress, which I myself was creating from upbringing and so forth. I'm not going to do that again. I'll walk this path alone before I go back and beat myself up because I think I should be different than I am. No, I'm going to be who I am. And you can come with me. And look, there's a bunch of you on the call here. So some of you came along or on your own path, and we're rendezvousing. So you got to trust that the expansion is going to be bumpy, but there's always going to be somebody at the next level you're heading towards to be your team, your group, your support system. So just learning to trust that takes some practice. But thank you for sharing that. So many great points coming up here in this meeting. All right, Verena, one more, and then we got to get into our meditation for telepathy. Go ahead.
I'll make it quick. I just talking about difficult things. I have something that I have a difficulty with, and that I thought I might share just to make it less difficult personally, but also to see how you are feeling and thinking about that. And that is, like, even though in some way, shape, or form I have been in contact with extraterrestrials, but like the idea of open contact and like raising my frequency in that way of like actually opening, because you were saying like raising your frequency to talk to the autistic children, like it's the same level, right? It's like
same frequency, yeah.
And opening up to all kinds of communication. And I like even just thinking about saying this out loud, preparing myself to open up to communication with ETs, like made my heart go so fast, because I'm not used to talking about these things. And with most people, I couldn't talk about these things. And so I just wanted to bring this in the space here too, because that's something that we're practicing for as well. I think like to open up communication with all sorts of different things, and to also acknowledge that it can be difficult and scary, that's nothing that has to stop us, but something to just acknowledge and like, see.
Thank you for being vulnerable and open about that, Verena. That is certainly when I was unawakened, as it were, before the brain tumor. That's kind of my watershed moment in 2008. That would have been freaky conversation and, woo-woo, that I wouldn't participate in it and I would judge it. And then things shifted when suddenly the idea of Abraham Hicks channeling was what opened us up first. But then having had so many channeling conversations, hundreds of conversations with people who channel, like Melissa, for instance, among others, and many of them talk about ETs. And now, Bashar is an ET channeled by Daryl Lankin. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Bashar. He's really coming into the mainstream. Supposedly, this year is the year of widespread open contact, sometime in the summertime, according to Bashar, according to Wendy Kennedy's Pleiadian channels. And it doesn't mean like boom, they'll be on the front lawn. What it means is that there'll be some evidence now showing up that's irrefutable from a much broader perspective. Maybe ships showing up, sitting over the water or something. The pieces are coming together that where this won't be something that's a weird, strange conversation. It'll be like, oh, I can't refute that. I could drive over there and there's a ship sitting there in the air. So that is, this year supposedly is the first evidence, hard evidence, irrefutable evidence will show up in some form. They're not saying what it will be or who it will be. And then next year will be physical open contact, broad, wide scale open contact. So you're just on the leading edge. That's all. And my invitation would be, just like with all of us, is to keep opening up the energy. And as you said, you're excited, you're called to it, but it feels scary. And knowing that the scary is just the learned response. The other thing that helps, well, maybe help everybody in this, the journey in general, is the reminder that the law of attraction, which is the creative law of the universe that responds to the vibration that we sit on, is creating the bubble that we experience, the reality bubble that we are within. We are creating that through the vibration that we offer. When we're down in fear, we attract fearful responses and experiences. But as we do this work, we shed the fear, then our vibration raises, and now our bubble goes with it. The people who are dangerous, who are angry, mean, evil, could hurt us, they simply don't even see us. We're literally on a different channel, a different cable channel on the TV. So you could walk right past them on the street. There could be 100 mass murderers. And if you're in this vibration, they won't even see, they will physically not see you. You can walk right by them. That's how powerful vibration is. That's how powerful we are as creators. That's why it's so important to be doing this work and then trust that when you get into the high vibrational state, something bad isn't going to happen to you because you're creating the bubble of reality as you move forward. So anyway, thanks. You guys are just opening up some great conversations here. So, yeah, we could talk all day about this, couldn't we?
I also want to share something.
Sure,
This
go
is
ahead,
Jennifer again. I had Epiphany this year at church. I don't know if anybody else knows about this, but they have a ceremony where you pull out a star word. And my star word this year was heal. And I had been thinking about becoming a healer through telepathy. And before I got this star word, and this was just, I felt like it was confirmation from God that this is what I'm being called to do. So that's just something else I wanted to share.
Wow. So that's what we were talking about earlier. That's a synchronicity. That is a rendezvous, a positive rendezvous point, because you are in an open and allowing state to allow those messages from broader consciousness. We call it source, but God, same thing, to come into you. They say that the still small voice of God is always there. It's always talking to us, but we're not listening. I see your dog, Verena. Beautiful. But we're often in this lower fearful vibration, and so we can't hear that voice. We can't hear that inspired impulse that will rendezvous us with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So I wanted to acknowledge you, Jennifer, for allowing yourself to follow the path that's being laid out. And that is your higher self calling you towards things that it knows you will get excited about, that you're naturally good at, and that will get you excited when you move in that direction. My invitation is to keep doing that. It doesn't matter where it comes from, pulling a card in a deck, getting an inspired impulse from something on Facebook, hearing something in a conversation. It doesn't matter. If it feels good and you're in a good feeling place, we learn to trust that inspired impulse in the moment and act on it so that the next door can open, and then the next, and then the next. And I have a feeling that you're going to be a powerful healer with the catalyst that you have as a result of your son sort of helping pull you forward. I think you make a big difference to a lot of people.
Well, thank
Anyways,
you. I've already started looking into Reiki, so
yeah, do
I'm
what
already
calls you.
definitely moving on that path.
Heck yeah, congratulations. All right. Verena says her dog started dreaming and making sounds of confirmation. I love that. Yeah, animals are some of the quickest um, sharers of messengers from source of higher consciousness. They show up in my life and Suzanne's life. We have bird feeders out back, squirrels, all sorts of animals show up right when we're thinking about something. It's like boom, they're right there as a confirmation. I love that. All right, well let's just do a quick meditation here. This will be for practicing going beyond what we did even earlier with Melissa's meditation. It can be helpful to have a pen and paper or a phone or something to take notes right when we come out of it, because if you have an experience, you have a message or something that you want to record. Sometimes when we're in that state, the short-term memory doesn't go to long-term memory, because it's when we channel something, it's actually going past that. It's going right to subconscious communication. So it can be helpful to write things down. So this will just be a short meditation, and then I'll be quiet for a few minutes. Maybe we'll go, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. And so your job is not to try to make anything happen. If you want to receive a message, just put it out there gently, kind of toss it out into the wind, and then let go of the need for it to happen. And then just relax into the present now moment and just see what shows up. Sometimes we just get a feeling. Sometimes our body responds. Sometimes we'll get a color. We hear a sound. Sometimes it'll be a full message. Sometimes we get full broad communication from some consciousness level. It's just getting up into the frequency range above the clouds where the messages can occur. So that's all we're trying to do here today. Relax, float up into that frequency range. And you can't get it wrong. So just enjoy the process. Okay, so let's sit back and relax, get nice and comfortable. As we close our eyes, we take a nice deep breath in. Hold it. And exhale. Breathing the air completely out of our lungs. And then in again. And as we breathe out, we begin gently releasing our thoughts, stepping out of time and dropping into the now moment. And one more time. As we breathe out, we soften and relax our energy. And each breath that we have in the future here then just brings source energy into the body, softens us, allows us to relax and trust that all is well. Trust that whatever happens in this beautiful connected state will be just perfect for what we're ready for, what we are ready to receive, what we're ready to experience. As we practice letting go, we can feel our soul consciousness raise a little, feel that frequency go up. The more we let go, the more we feel ourselves floating. Always connected and tethered to the physical form, but allowing the consciousness to float free. Free to float above the clouds of darkness and into the light. Feeling the warmth of the source energy sun. Being able to see for miles all around us. Just floating higher and higher. Just noticing the other consciousnesses off in the distance. Just feeling the beautiful positive energy of those beings. Maybe it's a non-speaker. Maybe it's a past loved one. Maybe it's a spirit guide or a consciousness teacher. whatever lights up for us the most, we just gently move our conscious gaze to that being or beings. And we just gently invite them a little closer. Feel their consciousness float a little closer to us in a nice, safe, and loving and supportive way, fully trusting that this is a beautiful, safe space, opening up in safety to whatever communication wants to happen as we soften and let go of any resistance we have. And as we open up even more, we just allow whatever wants to happen. And as my voice trails off, keep allowing and breathing and softening and relaxing and inviting in the most beautiful connection with spirit that's possible. And I'll be back in a few minutes to bring us home. Right, and now it's time to bring our attention back into our bodies. Thank those that we've connected with for the beautiful conversation, if we had one, knowing that we can return to this space anytime and reopen the conversation. And we bring our presence back into the third dimensional physical reality. We bring it into our bodies. Softly and gently, feel the energy flow through us, moving through the arms and legs and fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And my invitation is that if you receive something that you want to capture, now's the time to write it down. And then if you'd like to share whatever you experience, you can go ahead, put it in the chat or raise your hand like Verena has here and let us know what you experienced. I felt a couple people on the call. They felt their presence for a moment. Masako, your energy came through powerfully for a moment there. I also felt Cody, who's Monique's son. Cody and Aaron are her non-speaking sons. I think Monique may have had to drop off the call. Oh, no, you're there, Monique. Good. Yeah, Cody talked to me, and I said I wanted to open up more to telepathy, and he told me to keep going and to keep practicing. And I typically don't get direct telepathic messages, but this is my practice. So he's powerful energy. Cody is very powerful energy. So I'm very thankful for that. So Verena, go ahead. What was your experience?
I just got one quick message, and that was lift each other up. So I'm just sharing that into the room. And I think I also connected to Melissa's cat. And she seemed very, I don't know, he, but like, I got like, it was very tickly, laughtery, kind of, it seemed very fun, like a very funny character, and said, they love you very much. And it was sweet. Like, and I had another thing that came through to me, for me during this call, that I would actually, because you, Melissa, you were talking about allergies and stuff, and I know a lot about self-healing. And I would like to offer a free call for anyone who is interested to help activate self-healing powers and energy at some point. Is just something that I've been thinking about and that felt really strong today. So I'm just putting this out here. If anybody's interested, they can get in touch with me, and then we can start about like think about how in the future to make that happen. But I just wanted to put that out there if anyone would
Nice
like
inspired impulse to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
nice. Thanks for sharing that, Verena. And certainly,
thank you.
anybody you guys can connect on Facebook to each other, and certainly reach out to Verena. That might be something I'd be interested in, depending what what it is we'd be doing there. Masako says, "I felt Cody and Aaron. They kept showing up." Yeah, I'm so glad we have that team here. And Melissa's cat, she's got two cats in physical and one in non-physical, and I'm sure that was Hendrix. He's the one who was on the call last time and has talked about having. I mean, I could be wrong. Melissa will be able to tell more than I am, but he's got powerful energy. Well, both of them do. Masako says they told me to trust. Yes, yeah, that's the work we're all doing. Learning to trust that it all works. Monique, go ahead.
Oh, that was absolutely amazing. I just want to say that. So, like, I'm a little mind blown at the moment. So, I was like sitting in the feeling because, as you probably hear many a time before, like anytime I'm in the feeling, it's so overwhelming. I cry all over the place. But this time, I'm happy to say I got through that, and I was just sitting there in the feeling. And what I got was, and I'm learning to trust this because before I was told, don't listen for words, just listen for the knowing. So it was kind of easy to receive that because I wasn't trying to make it go a certain way. So I got a lot more today. And what I got was just to sit there and just get used to what it feels like, to be connected. So I was doing it. I was really, really enjoying it. And then because I was sitting there with a pen in my hand, aiming to do, automatic writing, I basically said, can I have a visual And the answer was yes. And then when I looked at the paper, there was so much writing there. I thought there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to get all that down. And the thought came back was like, yeah, see, that's why you're not really going to do it that way because the amount of information comes in.
Wow.
So it was like, okay. And then the paper just cleared. And then, so the next thought I was going to have was like, well, can I speak to Cody and Aaron? As literally the moment I had that thought, I was literally told, just say who would like to come forward. So it's like I'm being guided on how to do this. So I said, okay, who would like to come forward? And it wasn't Cody or Aaron. It was someone called Corinne. And I have no idea who Corinne is, which is
Wow.
wild. So I just said hi because this was like new to me. And she was, what I'm getting is that she's got cerebral palsy. She's in a chair. She's around 13. She's got curly brown hair. Like I'm getting a visual and everything. Amazing.
Wow.
She's like even her teeth, you know, like a bit of a gap next to her two front teeth, and they're kind of large at the front. And it was just, and she's just a sweetheart. And she was really excited because I think it was kind of new for her as well. Because I was kind of saying like, have you like been connecting with loads of people? And she's kind of saying like, no, this is kind of new to me as well. So it was like we're both kind of just hanging out, not really knowing what to say to each other. So it was really, really cool.
Wow.
It was so cool. Yeah, so that's what I got today. It was absolutely amazing. So
That's
I
all.
can't wait to do it again. Yeah, that's all. So but yeah, so I'm glad that it's funny. I find it funny that Cody and Aaron chose this moment like to connect with so many people where I got sent off elsewhere. I find that hilarious.
Well, but you bring up a good point. That's one of the things that the telepathy tapes pointed out. Often the telepathy for the children opened up first with a caretaker and not the parents, because there's a sort of an established relationship, and some, there's, as parents, we got to be the rule makers, and and sometimes there's a more negative energy that can be around the parent. So that's actually not surprising for that reason. Does that make sense, Monique?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because obviously I'm emotionally invested in my kids, but I probably asked all the wrong questions, all the irrelevant stuff, Because I
Yeah.
noticed they talk about the world and humanity. I want to know, what they want for their birthday and stuff like that. So I get it.
Well, so the name of this person was Corrine, like
Corinne. I think it's C-O. I don't know if it's one R or two R's and then I-N-E.
interesting. So I have a challenge for you, and you don't
Good
have to take me up on, that. We've worked together. Put that in the group. See if anybody knows a Corrine and describe her a little bit. Maybe, and you don't have to, and maybe it's best not to. I don't know. Tune into it would be my invitation to see what feels.
Yeah, I'll see what I get. Yeah.
You're so powerful. Thanks for sharing that, Monique. And I saw that Cecilia says, I saw a white light coming from my bottom left and then a gold shimmering sword. Ooh, that's I can actually see that as you shared that. The neat thing about this is it doesn't matter what it is or where it comes from or anything. It said it'll have meaning. Like sometimes it's just a metaphor for something else, and sometimes we'll literally see that image. But in either case, it means that you're opening up the connection. And it's sort of like we're taking one step. Ooh, I got this, and then you take another step. Cecilia, did that have any specific meaning to you that you know about, or was that? Do you think that was just a sort of a random image?
I'm not sure what it meant. However, for one, I just had cervical spine surgery on Tuesday, so I'm sitting present also to be embraced in the energy. But I have been practicing mental telepathy. I have a great nephew who has Rett syndrome, RETT. And I always tell him, I know you're in there. And lately I've been asking him to show me and guide me how to reach him. And then I felt drawn to go to Facebook, and this was the first group that I found when I put something in the search. I resonated, and here I am.
Good
So
for
I'm
you.
excited to be in this community. I'm open. I'm sensitive to spirits, and I've had experiences with multidimensional beings. And now I want to open myself up more to the mental telepathy part of it. So especially so I can communicate with Grayson. I'm really excited about reaching that reality.
Mm.
So
It
thank
sounds like
you.
you're pretty far along that path.
I'm starting to spend more time with it and spend less time doing just stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. Exactly. You could
So
be
I'm
doing the
excited.
laundry right now, or you could be fixing lunch, but you
Yeah.
chose to honor yourself to be here. And we're
And I
honored that
wanted
you're here.
to really be part of this group and community because it's important to me to always find like-minded people that we can all learn from and share with and open the space for them to be who they are. So
Yeah,
thank you
there you
for
go.
creating this group and thank you for everybody.
Our pleasure. Thank you,
Thank
Cecilia.
you.
Phew. Okay, Melissa, take us home. I think I see we're well past time. Actually, I didn't even notice
Yeah,
that.
I
I'm having
just
too
seen
much
that
fun
too.
here.
Yes, thanks. I connected today with Aaron, which was really cool. I was connecting with him, and then all of a sudden I thought it was a crow, but it was the blue jay. But looking out the window, literally right here was the mourning dove sitting here staring right in my window. And then the blue jay came flying, two of them right there and there. So there's a triune of them. They're all gone since the thing ended. They're staring in here. And it was like Aaron was saying, like, we're the protectors here behind you with this, like, I don't want to say just group, but like this whole project or this whole being of all of you. And then the Blue Jays were like, take your power back and empower yourselves here, like with all of you guys. And so it was kind of a message from Aaron, and then the birds at the same time were kind of all chiming in about all of us and our power and being here, and like how excited they are that we were all like here together, and they're orchestrating again. As I always say, the animals and the kids are still orchestrating all together to bring us to this place. And so it was just really neat because then when everybody was talking, I look out and they're just completely gone. And I just stared at them. My nose was sitting right in the window, just like we were. And I was like, holy moly. And there you go. And that was just really cool. So it just chimed in. And Verena, I just wanted to say it was Hendrix that was probably who you were chiming in with. I do have Hendrix and Harley, they're siblings. But Hendrix was the one that was just showing up in here right before we started too. So he was here, and I'm like, who are you going to connect with? And then he kind of drifted away after we started. So it was you he was talking to. I love it.
Yeah, I never get tired of any of this. It's so magical. And I really appreciate all you guys coming here because it's not just us offering this service to you. You guys are offering your service to us by your presence, by your stories, by your energy. So we are deeply appreciative that you guys took the time to come together and to share this beautiful energy. We're making a difference. May not feel like it. Sometimes you look out into the world and it's like, well, what's going on out there? And it's like, well, don't do that then. This world is all that matters. And you guys have made such a big difference. All right, so I got to wrap up here. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Namaste, and we love you guys so much. Thanks again. Bye for now.